our game. There's no place for that in society. And, certainly we want every person that comes into our arena, whether player, whether fan, to have a great experience. So I appreciate the league doing that. I appreciate, the Fever organization has been at the forefront of that.
I mean, she needed to say that, because if she hadn't said that, then you would have thought that the WNBA was just filled with deep and abiding racism, obviously. And of course, this is not the first time that Caitlin Clark has been forced to go to the camera.
The recent controversy surrounding the WNBA has ignited a firestorm of debate over race, sportsmanship, and media narratives. At the center of this explosive situation is conservative commentator Ben Shapiro, who launched a scathing critique of the league.
Several decades talking about how racism is an endemic problem in American life. And there's a problem with that problem, which is there's not enough racism for them. It didn't matter. Caitlin Clark was then forced to go out there and make a statement. And every time Caitlin Clark makes one of these statements, blink if you need help, Caitlin. Here she was after the game saying that there's no place for racism in the game,
accusing it of stoking racial tensions rather than defusing them. Shapiro's remarks came in the wake of an incident involving WNBA stars Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, which quickly escalated from an on-court play into a national political issue. To make matters even more volatile, Senator Jim Banks publicly called out Reese, demanding an apology for what he described as damaging and unfounded racial accusations against Indiana Fever fans. What began as a hard foul has turned into a culture war spectacle, drawing fire from across the political spectrum. The chain of events began during a tense game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever, in which Caitlin Clark was involved in a hard foul incident with Angel Reese. Shortly after, social media was flooded with claims suggesting that Reese had been the target of racist abuse from the crowd. The WNBA responded quickly, launching an investigation into the alleged behavior. After reviewing footage and interviewing witnesses, league officials stated they could find no evidence supporting the racism allegations. Despite the league's findings, the story had already taken on a life of its own. Accusations and defenses flew across social media platforms, and political pundits began weighing in. Among them, Ben Shapiro's voice rang the loudest. Known for his sharp and often controversial commentary, Shapiro used the opportunity to slam the WNBA, claiming the league had failed to handle the incident responsibly and had helped fuel racial division by reacting to unverified claims. According to Shapiro, the WNBA should have waited until facts were established before issuing public statements or opening formal inquiries, framing their approach as reactive, ideologically driven, and harmful to public discourse. Shapiro accused the WNBA of promoting a narrative that falsely casts its fan base and broader society as inherently racist. He claimed that such narratives delegitimize real incidents of discrimination by responding to every controversy with the assumption of racism without evidence. In his view, this undermines progress and poisons the cultural atmosphere. During one of his podcast segments, Shapiro stated, "The moment you elevate feelings over facts, you lose credibility." This was not a moment of justice. It was a moment of media manipulation. Meanwhile, Senator Jim Banks added a political edge to the controversy. In a public statement, he demanded that Angel Reese issue an apology to Indiana Fever fans for what he described as false insinuations. Banks argued that Reese, even if not explicitly calling anyone racist herself, benefited from the implication that her treatment was racially motivated, and that such suggestions damaged the reputation of thousands of fans without proof. His statement was direct and unflinching, insisting that high-profile athletes, like elected officials, carry a responsibility to choose their words and actions carefully in emotionally charged moments. The backlash against Banks and Shapiro was immediate in some circles. Critics accused them of politicizing an already sensitive situation and targeting Reese, a black woman, while downplaying the emotional and cultural realities of being a black athlete in America. Reese's defenders argued that whether or not racism occurred in that specific moment, the broader context of hostility and unequal treatment in women's sports can't be ignored. They pointed to the uneven media coverage, racial bias in commentary, and the double standards often applied when black athletes show emotion, passion, or physicality on the court. Angel Reese responded with a carefully worded post, distancing herself from the original fan allegations while reaffirming her commitment to speaking out about injustice. She did not mention Banks or Shapiro by name, but emphasized that being black in America means sometimes you have to stand strong even when they try to silence you. Her statement resonated widely, especially among fans who felt that her presence and style on the court represented more than just athleticism, it represented identity and power. Caitlin Clark, who had largely stayed out of the discourse, also found herself drawn into the narrative. While she made no public statements on the racial angle, her silence was interpreted in various ways. Some praised her for staying focused on basketball and not fueling the fire. Others criticized her for not speaking up to defend Reese against the escalating criticism, calling the silence a missed opportunity for allyship. Whether fair or not, Clark's position became part of a broader conversation about race, privilege, and responsibility in women's sports. The WNBA found itself caught between its commitment to its players and the scrutiny of its public image. Critics accused the league of being too reactive, too quick to accommodate politically charged narratives without waiting for facts. Supporters argued that the league did the right thing by taking every claim seriously, regardless of how it ended. The leadership emphasized its responsibility to foster a safe and inclusive environment for both players and fans, and stressed that integrity doesn't mean inaction. It means investigating and responding transparently. All of this has brought renewed attention to the WNBA's complex role in American culture. Unlike the NBA or NFL, the league has often embraced social justice issues as part of its brand. But this latest controversy has shown the risks that come with that stance. The line between advocacy and political backlash is thin, and the presence of polarizing figures like Shapiro and Banks has turned what should have been an internal league issue into a national flashpoint. Meanwhile, fans and players are left in a difficult position. For some, the incident has reinforced their belief that powerful conservative voices are eager to weaponize race and silence athletes of color. For others, it's raised genuine concerns about due process, responsible journalism, and the way public figures shape narratives without full evidence. The truth may lie somewhere in between, where real concerns about injustice must be balanced with responsibility, fact-checking, and the integrity of public discourse. The media's role in this saga can't be overlooked. Several outlets rushed to publish reactions and commentaries before the WNBA investigation was even concluded, and many never issued follow-ups when the allegations were deemed unsubstantiated. This has fueled criticism that modern media is more concerned with virality and outrage than accuracy, and that such behavior only serves to escalate division rather than illuminate truth. At the center of all this, Angel Reese remains a symbol of something much bigger than basketball. Her talent, confidence, and willingness to speak up have made her both a target and a trailblazer. Regardless of how the controversy unfolds, it's clear she has become one of the most talked about and influential athletes in women's sports today. Ben Shapiro and Senator Banks have succeeded in shining a spotlight on what they see as an abuse of racial narratives. But whether their approach fosters understanding or simply adds more fuel to a cultural firestorm is still up for debate. What's certain is that the WNBA, its players, and the fans now find themselves at the heart of a broader national conversation about identity, accountability, and the power of public platforms in shaping truth.